Live streaming is on.
Greetings and welcome to Stunt Hangar Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter, and I'll be your host this evening. I want to extend to you my deepest gratitude for you watching Stunt Hangar Video Hangouts. Now, if you are watching this as a replay, I want you to know that I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening, starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please make a note of this so you can watch or be part of the live stream. Plus, we have an after party following the live stream, which is sometimes better than the live stream portion. You must be a registered Stunt Hangar Forum member to find the link to attend the after party. Here at Stunt Hangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, and what you've been doing lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a member of Stunt Hangar Forum, you can find the link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench. Now, if you're not a member, please register at stunthangar.com/SMF. That's Sunset Mary Foxtrot. Okay. You must place a space between your real first and last name when you register. You must also use a valid email address, or Sparky. The proprietor of Stunt Hangar will not approve you. If you are inclined to not come in and just enjoy watching us on YouTube, fantastic, wonderful. Please enter your questions or your comments in the chat box, and I will do my best to make your comments or questions a part of the show. Understand, sometimes I can't get a word in myself, so be patient. I will ask our illustrious panel your question or state your comment. Now, if you find the Stunt Hangar Video Hangouts or the many building videos that Sparky does on this platform informative and enjoyable, please give us a thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe, and share the videos. That helps the channel grow, and also making comments also helps the channel grow also. Please also consider joining our YouTube channel memberships, which start at only $4.99 a month, which is less than 17 cents a month. Excuse me, less than 17 cents a day. All right, so I wish it was that cheap today, but unfortunately, it's 17 cents a day or less than. Now, your support helps offset some of the expenses of running Stunt Hangar. And with your memberships, you get special badges I can see in the YouTube chat and unlimited replay of member-only videos. And once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show for members only. Now, you can also use the super chat, which is located at the bottom of the chat box on the YouTube side, to make donations. Now, that super chat is only available during a live broadcast. So if you want to support us, and we hope you do, please make a note that I do these on Mondays and Friday nights, starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And make sure you tune in, and then you can donate. And that's in lieu of doing the subscription. You can do the subscription anytime. When you come to the YouTube channel, just hit the join button. And speaking of subscribing, don't forget to hit the notification bell and make sure you select all notifications. So either myself or Sparky is on, you'll be notified. You'll see an alert. Now, please keep the family, keep the family room friendly. I mean, don't say anything you wouldn't say around your children or grandchildren. And I want to thank you for your past, your present, and future support. And without any further ado, let me post the link to the Stunt Hangar website. And I'm looking at another monitor to do that. Okay, that's done. And I'm going to go check on the YouTube side, see what's going on there. Looks like it's set up right there. Okay, we have 4 concurrent viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate that very much. And we have 4 likes already. Thank you so much, because I'm so disappointed in the replays. People who are watching this after it's been broadcast sometimes don't think to hit the like button or subscribe. So please hit the like button, and don't forget the super chats and the YouTube memberships. And And let me get rid of this screen here. Just bear with me for just a second. I got like 2 monitors up and like several tabs up. All right, so we have a couple of people coming in right now. Hey, Phil.
Hey, Charles. How are you?
Doing well. Hello, Howard.
Hi.
Well, hello, Howard.
Hi.
All right, I got the vortex generators, the vortex generators. Thank you very much, Howard.
You're welcome.
Very much. That's awesome.
And I got the Howard. I got the files. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh, it's just like Christmas for everybody.
Yeah, I got the files last week.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I may have to go out and come back. My sound isn't working.
Really? I hear you fine.
Oh, you hear me, but I'm hearing you through the computer instead of through my earbuds. So I must have turned them off.
All right, I'll see you when you get back.
Right back.
All right, sounds good. So, Howard, just you and me.
Okay.
So, what you been doing?
Sanding.
Sanding. So, what grit are you up to at this point?
I'm alternating between 320 and 400.
Oh, okay.
Sanding off filler.
All righty. And what kind of filler did you use?
I use talc.
Oh, okay. I haven't used that yet.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I use the spray primers. There's one that Napa used to sell. I think it was DC 540. I think it was called.
Yeah, the stuff that's not as good as it used to be.
Yes, I have a few cans of the old stuff, and then Dennis Nunez, he told us, and others have also contributed, saying that Harbor Freight, their sandable primer is really good. It's a little bit thicker and heavier, but it's good.
Yeah, but if you use it, I still don't have my AirPods on. But anyway, if you use it, be sure that you you sand down everything you can. And it wouldn't hurt to put the first coat on and sand it real well so that it bleeds through. Steve said it bleeds through for some people, but I didn't have any trouble with the paint I used. But a buddy of mine used it with dope, and he said that it bled through the first coat with dope. But he put on a sealing coat, sanded that good, and didn't have any further problems. So I don't know. Whatever.
Well, that's good to know.
It does work, and it does spill the grain good.
Yeah, well, I'm probably going to use the DC 540. I think I have enough to do. My build is called Precious Balsa.
Yeah, I want to see that when you finish it.
Yeah, it's going to be. Hope it comes out really nice. So I hear some sounds in the background. Is that
That's probably my.
There we go.
My daughter's back here and she talks loud. I'll mute the mic.
All righty. I mean, she's talking about model airplanes. That'd be fine. I bet she's not, though, right? If she's talking about I can fly better than Dad, or Dad needs to move out of the way. So
No. She's the crash master.
Okay. So, Howard, I'm not familiar with using talc, so I understand you want to get the unscented talc. Is that right?
Well, it depends on what you want your airplane to smell like.
Yes.
But yeah, it might have some contaminants in there you don't want. And then if you use Sig fuel, and there may be a clash there between the perfumes.
So where do you get your talc, Howard?
Well, I did get it at Tap Plastics.
Okay.
Which you may or may not have, which may or may not exist anymore. But they don't have talc anymore anyhow. So, in his article on how to finish, which you need to look at on flying lines, Philip Granderson tells you an alternate supply for talc.
Yeah, I spoke to Phil Granderson briefly. I mean, like a few minutes about a month ago. Have you spoken to him lately?
I haven't spoken to him lately, but his articles there on Flying Lines,
Alrighty.
flyinglines.org, I think it is.
Yeah, I think I read it, and I think it was reprinted in either Stunt News or some magazine. I remember seeing the finishing article in the magazine as well.
Yeah. Sometimes crediting him, sometimes crediting somebody else.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil
Brendan.
would be hard to beat.
How we doing?
Doing well.
I'm gluing up a plane. This is my son's rugged stunt trainer that he designed a couple years back. You see the checkered pattern on it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so he occasionally says, "Hey, Dad, why don't you fly a couple rounds?" And then usually I put his favorite planes into the ground and have to play repairman. So that's what I'm doing right now.
That's pretty good. At least you're repairing it. I mean, I feel so many young people, they want to fly these planes back in the old days, and they would go and buy the Cox PT-19 trainer like I had, and the dad would say, son, let me fly it first, before you don't know anything, right? Then the dad goes out and flies it and crashes it and ends it. There's no more flying, and the son never gets a chance, or daughter never gets a chance to fly because dad crashed it.
Yeah, we ran into that a number of times, so that's why my wife started getting into let your son fly first, and now I'm the one that crashes it all the time after he gets his jollies out of it. So,
well, at least that's good, because I know there was some sad boys back in the day, some sad kids. Excited, and the dads must have felt horrible.
Sure,
they're just doing the best they could, but those planes weren't easy to fly.
Hey, those rugged stunt trainers, they there's a guy in Atlanta that builds something now. I don't know what, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a Yuki stunt trainer or something like that. And several of us bought them, and the guys were taking them and lighting. The fuselage is solid, is a piece of solid hardwood. I mean, that fuselage ain't gonna break.
right.
Anyway, several of the guys were taking them and just modifying, lightening them up, cutting big holes in them and lightening them up. All it succeeded in doing was making them extremely nose heavy. So one of the guys built one and put I think he said it was a Vico 29 on it. No muffler, I'm sure. I didn't get to see it, but I'm sure there's no muffler. But built it absolutely stock out of the box, and everybody says that's the best flying one so far. I think instead of coring the wings and putting the bell crank internal and lightening the fuselage, I'm gonna build the darn thing right out of the box and see what happens. Put a 25 on it, go fly it. Tom Dixon flies one with I think he's got a Fox 35 on his, and he said it's a great flyer. Just get it and enjoy it. Good for getting the cobwebs off after a few months off. I don't know. It's hard to argue with Tom. But that looks pretty good. I like the paint job. That's my eclectic style paint jobs.
Yeah, he was really proud of it. We call it checkers.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He was extremely proud to put this design on it, and he flew it at the Nats 2 years ago. And
oh, very good.
That's neat.
Yep, and it's our beater plane now. It's out of shape and out of wonk here and there and whatnot, but for my level of flying, I mean, I'm barely getting outside loops in and what have you. It still works for me in the level that I'm at.
Yeah. We all have to go through this maturation process. I have a friend I'm teaching how to fly, and he's making progress. I have another friend I'm helping, and he's finally gotten his outside loops where he's actually relaxed now, and so now he's going to go start flying inverted, because the other guy that I'm teaching, he's actually already attempted to go flying inverted. He's crashed a couple of times already, but I just tell them, I wish there was a shortcut through learning how to fly without crashing, but I don't know of any shortcuts.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how much. I mean, my son started when he was 8, and I was focused on getting him in the air. And I cannot tell you the number of times we put it into the ground. And actually, we started with the combustion engines. And I'm a do-it-yourselfer from a home repair type, but I'm not a do-it-yourselfer from small engine and that type of stuff. And so just trying to get the plane started and troubleshoot, the fuel and get it going and spark plugs and all that stuff. I mean, I was sweating to death just trying to get the plane started. And then get them in the air for half a lap before going to the ground. And so it was quite a challenge just getting us airborne and going. And we went over to electric within probably about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, I think starting out, electric is probably an easier way, especially for kids today. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I'm sure Phil can relate and Walter can relate to me. We rode bicycles without the shin guards and helmets and gloves, and
we're still here.
And we're still here. Where kids today, they're so coddled, to get them to start a IC engine. What'd you say, Walter?
Mine even had a sissy bar.
Yeah, so did mine. Actually, I had a sissy bar and I had a wheelie bar. You remember the wheelie bar?
Yes. The shock absorber wheelie bars.
Yeah, and it had wheels. Had wheels in the back, so you actually would have to lean back, and that thing would keep you from going too far, and you could just ride a wheelie.
I didn't have all that. I had to do it the hard way. But there was only one guy in the neighborhood that could begin to do a wheelie as far as I could. Steve Smith and I would do them for 3 blocks, and everybody said, "How you keep it up that far?" It's just a matter of balance.
Yes, it's balance. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Mike.
He ain't talking.
So anyways, getting back to you, Brendan. Yeah, starting them is not easy, and some of the newer engines make it much better than the engines that I started with. The Fox and the Super Tiger 35s that I flew with a kid. Those, were more troublesome, but the newer ones, the LA 25 and the LA 46, they're pretty much flip and start.
Yeah. I think from the electric side, since I didn't know any better from the combustible side, it just felt like the electric was a little more just easy to troubleshoot, easy to figure out that there's, if it's not running, it's for X or Y reason. With the combustion engines, it just felt like there was just so much, finickiness and trying to figure it out. And again, getting in new to the hobby, it's not like I wanted to put, a ton of money into brand new, combustion engines. So if I'm buying used stuff, then who knows how predictable those are and whatnot. So just the electric side made a whole lot more sense.
Yeah.
It definitely is a way to go. I mean, I'm considering, I have an electric SV11 I bought, and I haven't started putting it together yet, but I'm looking forward to maybe getting more flights, during the time that I'm out there, not having to fool with getting the needle set or whatever, or if the atmosphere changes and things change and it's not the same flight, which I experienced with IC motors.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see that and try it and see what it's like. But I still believe, this is my own belief, I think everything being the same pattern, same everything. I think if you're looking at 2 patterns and one is an IC engine and one's an electric, I think it's just human nature to just kind of prefer the sound of a gas motor,
I agree.
Motor.
It's the sound of it that got most of us
everything being
in
the same,
The sound is what got a lot of us into it. Like I would never have known what a control liner was, but I heard this weird racket up at the school, and I went up to see what the heck is going on. And Winston-Salem had a club back in the 50s and early 60s called the Thunderbirds. And I went up and watched them fly one Saturday morning and was hooked. That was it. I love the sound of that little motor. But I'll tell you what, I've got more scars on me from 049s than I ever have from 50s, 60s. Everybody says, oh, the big ones bite so hard. Yeah, but you don't get bit. The dang 049s, they got a temper.
Well, I got a bunch of stitches on my middle finger there from a Tiger 46, and learning the value of sanding a master air screw.
Oh yeah, that's a painful lesson.
I didn't know, and kaboom, kabang. hospital, you know,
Oh yeah. Ooh,
those
that's
fuckers
APC.
backflip.
Howard, I did. I mean, no, it's not Howard. I did that at the Nationals. My 46 had not been running a while, and the guy says, put this prop on it. He threw me an APC and put it on there. I put it on there right quick. Gonna run it up and let it run fast to seat the ring again. And I was looking at that thing, and I went to start it, and I just ran my finger up it, and all of a sudden I had blood everywhere. I said, what the heck? I didn't even put the battery on yet. So
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah,
believe he had it. He said, well, it was a brand new prop. I said, well, you didn't tell me that. And I didn't realize it. So.
Yeah, I sand
So,
that edge off on those APC props. And pardon me one second. We have Jeff Riley in the chat box. And if you saw me laughing a moment ago, it's in response to this. He says, good evening, Stunt Hangar and Charles. Don't be drawn by the dark side. So that's why you saw me laughing. I was laughing at reading that.
I like him. He's wild and crazy. He's cool
yeah,
dude.
so hey Jeff, I hope you get some company out there. Right now you're the only one out there.
Jeff, come on in. I need to talk paint with you.
Yeah, but so hopefully you'll be joined soon. But thanks for coming in, Jeff. I appreciate that.
You want to talk about dark side? Look what Mike's messing with, that jet.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ever see one of those things fly in the late evening and fly a stunt pattern walk, you can't wait to see another one do it. I mean, that's Dan Banjock did that at Huntersville, and
Yeah.
he is a wild man. I think the world of Danny, but he is a wild man.
I got a little bit.
Well, you know what really impressed me is when I was at the Nats in 2019. I went back, or actually Sparky took me back to the field. This is in the evening, probably around 5:30 or so, a little before dusk. And I went there to go look at the post jets. I was hoping to see Mike Lonke and his son and Dan Banjock. Anyways, I remember seeing Dan Banjock, and I said, aren't you guys going to fly? And he said, it's too windy. And then I turned to my right, and on like circle number 3 and 4, I saw these guys flying these, what I thought was like rule book stunt patterns in more wind than I've ever flown in my life. I was so amazed that, I saw Chris Rudd flying, Richard Oliver, and I think I saw Derek Barry, saw Orestes Hernandez, saw Joe Gilbert out there. And I was like, wow. And the guy from Japan, Nikki, or I can't remember his name, but I was amazed that these guys. What?
Kazmanato?
No, not
Nikki.
Kaz.
Nikki.
Oh, Nikki. Okay.
Nikki.
Yeah, and those guys were flying these rule book patterns, pulling out at least 4 feet. And again, Dan Banjo said it was too windy to fly the pulse jet. So and it was windy. I thought it really changed. When I came back from that, I decided that, you know what, it's never too windy to fly. At least in Southern California, it's never too windy to fly. So I've been it's helped my game.
I don't know about that, Charles. I tried to walk with my wife and 2 daughters, and I walked the Golden Gate Bridge, and I thought we were going to go over the edge any second. It gets windy in California.
Well, that's Northern California.
Well,
yeah, Southern California.
You made a song about Southern California, didn't you?
Yeah.
It doesn't rain in Southern California.
In California, yeah.
And that's a lie.
But it pours. Let me tell you. I've been in San Diego, and San Diego don't get a lot of rain, but you don't want to be there the day it does.
Yeah, especially on the roads with all these amateur drivers. And the roads get slick because they haven't had water on them and there's oil, and it's kind of crazy at first.
And that's the kind of day that the guy will always go try to test drive a $100,000 Lamborghini or Porsche, and you see it in 10 pieces on the side of the road, and he's in 4 over here. They've gathered up his parts in one place and put a bag over it. I don't know. There's some nuts in California. Wait till a day like that and go rent a car like that. I said, golly.
Yeah.
But anyway, my first look at a Porsche F40 was one sitting on the side of the road in San Diego, and it was in pieces. I thought, oh my God, somebody buy a car like that. And the cop says, no, he didn't buy it. He rented it. It was rented.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, one of those things. But also, first time I ever saw it, I sworn it was an A fuel. I'd call it an A fuel altered, but it was a Volkswagen Bug with a 420. It's sitting on a tube chassis. It had a 426 Hemi in the front. The thing looked like an A fuel altered, and he's driving it on the street. I said, "My word!" Now this is back in the 70s. They drove some wild stuff around out there then. 40 Willises that looked like it belonged on a drag strip. My sister had a 64 Fury that had a big motor in it. There we go. Okay. Did anybody fly over the weekend?
Yes.
Charles probably got to.
I flew Friday, but I think I already commented on that about how I had some really good trim flights and looking forward to flying again. But I didn't fly today. It actually rained out here.
Oh my goodness. Well, I went to Charlotte Saturday morning, and I was going to go eat lunch with the guys, and then one of the fellas called me and asked me to come to Charlotte. So I came to Huntersville, which is right there at Charlotte, and went to their club meeting. And I'm a member of the club, but anyway, went to the club meeting and picked up some stuff. But Will Davis was there and flew his new SV11 one time in between showers, and I think you're going to like your SV11. His is impressive. It flew very well, and he's still being very careful with it. But I think you're going to like it. It cuts very well, and it seems to fly very well.
Yeah,
I'm still liking the Vector.
I had a Vector, and my Vector flew okay. But I never flown an SV11, but I've seen two SV11 ARFs fly out here, and so I agree. I think I'm going to really like it. Hey, Bill, thanks for coming in. Long time no see. I'm so excited to see you. I've been thinking about you, Bill. I was actually entertaining to give you a call to see what it would take to get you to come back and visit us.
So I got a couple of new planes.
All right.
Here's my baby flight streak with a Fox FAI 049.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness.
And it hauls it good.
What brand motor is that? You said FIA, but
Fox.
It's a Fox.
Yeah, they made an 049. It turns a 5.3 about 18,000.
Interesting.
And then tonight, I flew my Ringmaster Junior.
Oh, nice.
For the first time. And that's got a Fox 15 on it.
Now, is that your biggest plane or not?
No, still have that Buster with OS 35.
Okay. So how does it compare, those two, the Buster and the Ringmaster?
Well, this did really good. I had 52 feet of line, and it was pulling it around really good. It's pretty heavy. It's a Sterling kit, and the sheeting and that, but it pulled it around good. I don't know.
Plane.
Very nice. Very nice.
Easy to start, but
very good. I actually had a Buster when I was a kid, but I have a couple Ringmasters. I think I'm down to one. I've given away and sold two, and but I've kept one just for the Ringmaster-a-thon. Yeah, I always want to have one just so that I can participate. And I participated last year, and matter of fact, Joe Mata and we actually sent in our numbers of flights, so to contribute to that event.
I've been flying my.
No, just one. Go ahead, Bill.
Oh, I said I've been flying my electric Clown too, Super Clown electric, and I like that plane real well.
That's nice to have an.
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Good.
Mike, what'd you do to your wrist?
I jacked it up doing yard work today.
So you just got this fixed.
Yeah, it's not. It's the top of my hand. I did something in the top. I don't know what it is, so I just put this on so I can keep it straight till tomorrow.
A flesh wound or muscle?
Wow.
I don't know. I was doing some weed whacking, laying some mulch, you know,
You're
just
bleeding.
doing.
You're bleeding, right?
No.
So it's not a flesh wound.
No, it's really sore and it hurts to move. So luckily it's not my flying hand though. So
That's right.
it is my
Gotta
starting hand. Though. It is my
Gotta
starting.
Got to
Yeah.
keep your priorities straight.
Stop doing yard work.
Whatever.
Now you see the danger. Now you
Thanks
see
for
the
sharing
dangers
all
of
this
yard work.
video.
That's why I try to avoid.
Yeah, see?
Keep
You know,
up.
Lord,
tell the wives, man.
Keep
yard
those
work.
videos coming, Bill.
man, I tell you.
Last week, guys. Well, last weekend, we had a little bit of conversation about the chipmunk.
Mm-hmm.
When I got in touch with Jim Van Loo, I was going to say Solhavy. When I got in touch with Jim Van Loo, and he granted me permission, he also did something that I thought was really awesome. He sent me these 3 photos. Well, there's 2, but one of them has a duplicate. They're in black and white.
Let me click on you real
No,
quick.
that's the original. That's the
Yes.
original. Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
That is the original.
Mhm.
Oh, that looks nice.
Now, here's an even nicer photo. Guys, don't wet your whistles on this one.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now I can see the airplane.
There is an airplane in that picture. How about
Yeah, there's an airplane in the picture. She was Miss AMA or something like that.
wow?
Am I tilting it right? There you go. There you go.
Now, those 2 planes, are they the
They're
same?
the same plane.
Show the
Look,
other
it
one
looks different. The trim
I
look
need-
different.
No, it's just that it's black and white. There's a glare here.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a
I have seen
glare.
that plane, and it is beautiful.
Wow.
See if I go to the bottom. It's 2
The
of
other
the
side
same
of it.
photographs.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
don't
see it
know
now.
why
I didn't
they
see
did
it at
that.
first.
that airplane flew at the Nationals with no muffler. That's back
Yeah,
in
you can
60,
see it.
68, I think it was. And
Yeah, I believe so.
and it was just a beautiful airplane. But it just, when I saw the thing in the book, I said, I got to have one
Wow.
of those. That looks like a plane at the airport. We had a guy here that had one. He didn't do aerobatics with it, but it was a model of a plane I'd actually seen. So it was a semi-scale to me. I fell in love with it.
He sent me the decal sheet. I don't know why. Whoops.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why
Yeah.
he sent me the decal sheet. What am I doing here that I'm doing wrong?
Well, that's pretty nice. That way,
That's cool.
pretty authentic.
And what he did was, remember I showed you the photograph where he iron-on coated the kit prototype?
Mm-hmm.
He also wrote the instructions for building it, okay, for my kit. And at the end of it, he did a listing of, let's see if we could see it.
Wow.
You know, he gave a small list there of suppliers you can get stuff from, and Jim Van Loo actually wrote articles for an RC magazine, and what he would do is he would actually get kits and stuff sent to him, and he would do a review for them. From what I understand, he did very, very thorough reviews. Okay. And as a result, he actually got to keep the models that they sent him, and he's been a big asset in our hobby, both RC and control line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wish guys like him were you know still active, but I think he's 80 years old, give or take, and he's not doing well.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So I don't want to make a big thing about it, but if you guys believe in prayer, if you could pray for him.
All righty.
Yeah.
Excuse me one second. Let me catch up on the chat box. And this is for you, Phil. Jeff Riley says, Charles, let Phil know that I'm on the phone with my paint guru friend. If he has any questions, now's the time.
Oh Lord. Tell him we're gonna tell him he's gonna have to get I had one of those sleepless nights last night, and I can't think anything. My mind is absolutely blank. But tell him I do need to get up with him one day and get some questions answered, because he knows more about paint than anybody I know, or at least he will share more about paint than anybody I know.
Jeff Riley. Talking about Jeff Riley.
Okay, I don't know Jeff Riley, or I mean,
he's a car painter, but he knows paint. Dope, polyesters, whatever. It's not polyester, but anyway, that's what I mean. I'm having one of those days when don't take too much of what I say serious tonight. I'm sleepy. I'm about ready to fall. I'm about ready to go.
Well, thanks for coming in, even though you're really dog dead tired. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I got to see what you guys are up to. I got to keep an eye on you. You're a long way away. So
you got to keep an eye on me. You got to keep at least one eye on me. You know what I mean? At least one.
Here's a picture of me with my 660.
Oh, very cool.
I was a young lad.
Wow, Walter. That is awesome.
And
that's cool.
I was big into sports scale.
Ooh, wow. Very nice.
Too, Walt.
And here's an underflight of it.
Wow.
Wow. Beautiful.
Wow.
I got a couple other pictures, but I don't want to take up all the time.
No problem. But yeah, I like show and tells. That's
a pretty thing.
So it's nice. So who we got here?
On the big guy is my father, Walter Sr. I'm in the middle, and then the dirty kid on the left is this guy named Mike. And I want to say his last name in case he ever came on.
Okay.
Say, oh, he's a dirty bomb. And that to give you a real idea how big the Stuka was.
Wow.
Big airplane.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's sported a Tiger 60 Bluehead.
Now, where's this at? Where's this flying site?
That was actually that I believe was Flushing Meadow Park.
Wow. So you flew there too, huh?
That's Flushing Meadow.
Yeah, that's
wow. That's very cool. And, you know, I was watching a Wendy Yanowski video recently, and I was so impressed with this little bit tidbit. You know, Wendy Yanowski was working on a design, and he wanted to put in the mail to Big Jim Greenway for him to look at it. And I was just curious. Do you know, either you, Peter, or Walter, do you guys know what Big Jim Greenway did? Because he obviously knew a lot about aerodynamics, or knew something about dynamics.
He designed the Pattern Master. The Pattern Master.
I think he means in real life.
For a living. I have no idea what Big Jim.
I mean, obviously he was an intelligent person, because Wendy relied on him heavily. I saw a video of he had Jim Greenway there. I saw Jose Modesto and Wendy Yanowski flying at that site you was talking about, Flushing, yeah. And I was just like going, wow, that's amazing. I know so little about Big Jim Greenway. I'd like to know more about him.
Yeah, he, like I said, he designed the Pattern Master, which was the basis for a lot of the stunt ships back in the day. He also did Super Tiger engines, I believe. He did rework
Yes.
on.
Yes, he
Did
worked on
rework on the 60.
people for a long time, and till this day, if you're not a newbie, and no disrespect to any newbies, but if you're not a newbie in the hobby and you mention a big Jim Greenaway work motor, guys would kill you for it.
The only one I know
They
of was
just
Morris.
they just run like a clock.
The only motor that rivaled a Big Jim was a Tom Lay.
Yeah, I agree.
Those two were the top of the line. I've got two Tom Lay Tiger 60s and 151, and they ain't going nowhere. I may be flying electric, but they ain't going nowhere. If I ever decide to fly fuel again, that's what'll be in something, because those motors are just one flip starts and you can count on them. They're beautiful.
Well,
She
you know,
did pretty work. There was one other guy that did work to rival those two. I always put those two on a pedestal, but there was one other guy that was good, Silver Fox. If you had one of his 40s, 51s,
Lou Woolard.
Lou Woolard was amazing.
Yeah, but he only worked on Foxes, right?
No, he did Super Tigers. I've got a 51 he did.
I didn't know that.
Mine looks a little rough because he sent it back to me and called and asked if it got here, and I haven't seen it, Lou. I didn't see it. And 4 years later, Lou's gone, and the neighbors moved, and they cleaned out the crawl space under part of the house, and found out that the son, who was a little off, collected stuff out of people's mailbox and stuff, and went and played postmaster under the house. My motor was under there, so it looks oxidized and rough, but it runs like a clock. Also had one of the old upright 40s that George Aldrich designed, and he did that for me too, and it runs great, but it really looks rough. But
wow,
he did some amazing work. Lou was really good.
Yeah, that's aside from Randy Smith's, silver clock, gold clock edition,
Yeah, Randy Smith, and then there's a guy named Tom Muggleton who worked on motors.
And Tom Dixon.
And wasn't there didn't Byron
Barker.
Brian Barker work on motors also?
I've got one of his 25s. That runs great too. Brian wasn't an assembly guy. He was very quiet, but he could do more than he would let you know he could do. He said, I think I can tame that down, and you got it back, and it was just cured. I had a 25 that would eat you, and he cured it. He was a good fellow.
Let me catch up on our guests here. Thanks for coming in, Peter. I don't think I greeted you yet. And thanks, Jeff, for coming in. And thanks, John Miller. And Gary, I'm glad you finally got in, because I kept clicking allow, and I finally had to reject you to get you to come back in. So I'm glad that you got in. We don't see you. I
had to try it. Yeah, and I had to shut down 3 or 4 times and restart the whole thing, and camera wouldn't work, and then restart, and then this wouldn't. So, finally.
Yeah, finally you got in.
Still got no picture, but it's good to have you here anyway.
Yeah, we don't have no picture of you.
You got no picture?
No picture. No picture of you, Gary. We see you, John.
I see Big John's
and
here.
I see Jeff and Peter and
Jeff's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff. Thanks for coming in again. Appreciate it.
Wanted to let Phil know that I found that Painter's Choice at my Home Depot.
Oh, you dog. I'm about ready to get you and John to get me a couple of pints of that and send it to me. I can't get it. I can't get it here. All I can get is the rattle cans.
I think it was like $10.
Happy to do it.
I think it was around $10 a pint.
I'd pay that and be tickled. The cans are about seven, right at $8. And
yeah, but the spray cans run too easy.
Yeah, they run too easy. They come out really thick. The trick to those is if you spray it out of the rattle can, spray it reasonably fast. I mean, you got to get a wet coat or it won't stick. But spray it fairly fast and then go back and sand it. take some of the weight out because, man, I added 8 ounces to that airplane. I said, I may have to sand all this off. And I started sanding, and it came off so easy that I was able to get it down nice and light and even. And then I just put a coat that I don't remember the name of that spray that I got, the clear. But
How
I put
big
that
of an
over
airplane is it?
I showed it on here one night. It's called a Humbug. It's a little
Oh,
airplane. Really, it's a small airplane.
Roughly
it's
a
not-
shoestring?
No, it's bigger than a shoestring. Well, it's bigger than the little bigger than the Sterling shoestring. That's oddly one of my favorite models. I just got a Bob Whiteley kit of the shoestring. I'm going to make it electric, but that's just a neat airplane. I did some horse trading and come up with a kit. So, and I got, John, you'll like this one. I'd always wondered what differential flaps are. But I just got a Vico Thunderbird, and that thing comes with differential flaps. It looks like 2 horns that you chopped on. I ain't about to put that on there.
Yeah, don't use it. Don't use it. It
No.
didn't work.
But that was the one idea I understand from several people. That's the one idea Bob Palmer ever had that totally did not work.
Yeah,
But
I built one.
Oh Lord, I thought that would be a neat idea if you just took those 2 horns and put something between them to keep them linked, and then just ran one push rod off the inside one, and then did like Paul Walker does. Run a thing off your push rod and run a rod forward off of this, and so you could adjust it so you didn't have to tweak the flaps. You could just adjust the flaps like Walker does. But too much trouble. I just bought a Walker setup.
What was the differential? Did it throw the inside flap further than the outside?
I can't really see that it does anything other than
It does. It does. You get a different flap through. The flaps go down, the inboard go down further, so it kind of tends to roll it to the outside. When you go up, it does it the opposite way, and that's where the problem was.
Turns it into a flapper on.
Yeah. Well, and but the thing is if the flaps go up, your elevator's going down, so you're doing an outside turn, and the wing going down to roll it and all that, along with the yaw that comes naturally from going to the outside, throws it all off. It just didn't work. It was an idea that sounded looked good. I thought at 16, 17 years old, I thought it was a great idea, and I built one just like that, like kit. Well, I built the kit, and I think I put maybe 12 flights on it, and I got rid of the kit or the plane.
Did you ever build
didn't
one?
Like the way.
Did you ever build one of the first Brodak Noblers?
No.
Yeah, I did.
My first Brodak Nobler, I bought it about a month or maybe 2 months after they were in. This was back in the magazine order days. And I called him up and mailed him a check, and he mailed me a Nobler. And I put it together just the way it come out of the box, not really knowing any better.
Yeah.
But the inboard flap was so much bigger than the outboard flap that thing would aileron through the pattern like an old magician.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the flap was a 1/2 inch wider on the inboard side, along with being 1 inch longer.
Yeah, that was before we figured out that the inboard flap the outboard flap needs to be a little bit wider, like 1/8 of an inch wider at the outboard tip, but keep the length the same so that it turns the same. And they hadn't figured that out yet. But I saw a lot of those that really looked like they hinged funny on up, and then when it got inverted, it hinged weird too. So it was always looking. The idea was to bring the plane out, but it was an idea that just overdone. Like
coming into that outside square, you could see the top of the plane, and it was like scary.
Well, that's scary.
Like Bob Hunt said, don't do anything to induce a yaw into your plane. You'll be a lot happier.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me catch up with the chat box, you guys. Peter, your last name, I'm going to guess, is Bird. Is that how you say it? If I said it correctly, give me a yes or a no. I'm just curious. And then Craig Biswick, you guys using rattle cans, are you taking the pressure out of the can before you apply it to the plane? Leave upside down and let some of the propellant out first?
And what you want to do with the, I think with the painter's touch is if it's coming out thick and heavy like you're talking about there, Phil. I was going to mention one thing you can do is you can get a pan of water, put it on the stove, set it, and heat the paint up. You set it in the water and get the water boiling. Heat it up, get it to thin out. Shake it real good and get it thin. It'll thin and flow faster and better. But I like to get it by the pint. I like to get it by the pint and use the compressor in my own spray gun because I could then thin it.
I'd rather do.
How you doing there?
Yeah. See, Eddie. That's what I want to do. Get it where I put it in spray gun and thin it myself.
Eddie, you're looking like Sleepy Gomez here. What's going on?
Do what?
He was leaning back,
I
relaxed.
said you're looking like Sleepy Gomez here.
I couldn't. You got cut off. What now?
Try it one more time, John.
I said you're looking like Sleepy Gomez there. You're so relaxed.
Oh yeah, I'm in the living room tonight.
Uh-oh, Mama must not be
Just
home.
got through watching. Just got through watching
Do
the
it,
Preds
Phil.
beat up on the Panthers.
Phil, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
One of these days, my Panthers are going to come back, but I don't know when. That's one. I tell you, we all wear the paraphernalia, and we're behind them. We're tickled to have a Carolina team, but I Swanee, the last couple of years have been rough. Anyway.
Anyways, on the chat box, Peter Burr said I got it right. He said, "Yep," and I don't know if I said what he said earlier, but he said, "Hey there," referring to us guys. So, hey there, back to you, Peter. Thanks for coming in. And did you fly control line, or are you? What brought you in here? Let's see what he says.
Phil, this is what you need right here.
Let me make it big, Jeff. Hang on.
I don't have one. I don't have that model.
This model you can buy off Amazon for $15.
What is it?
This is called a Vivo.
Spell it.
VIVO. Vivo Home.
You say Amazon or eBay?
Amazon. I got this one just like it, with a bigger, slightly bigger cup on it, and I got one that's similar to the Harbor Freight suction.
Yeah, I have a Harbor Freight
with the little compressor for $95.
Good grief!
Holy smokes!
So everybody says you need Iwata. They're great. They're good guns, but they're going to cost you upwards of $250 or $300. And the trick with it is to pull the needle out and spin it with light pressure against a piece of like the back of a notebook, the cardboard. Spin it to polish the point. So where it comes through, the needle is nice and smooth. Then you spray it, it'll spray every bit as good as an Iwata.
I'll be darned. I'll get one.
Yes,
I'll get one.
I do have an Iwata.
Yeah,
it's no better than that one.
I have several Pache. I have a Pache. I have several different versions of the one we all started with. I can't remember what it is. Badger. There you go, Badgers.
Is your Pache a VL?
I think it is.
It's the one with the double trigger, the button and the pullback.
Yeah,
that's a VL
push
series.
it down
Those
and
are the
pull
good
it
ones.
back. Yeah, you push down and pull back. And I've got the 200 Badger, which does the same thing. But if I'm using ink, I prefer the Badger. But if I'm using paint, I prefer the Pache.
That's
But
because
the
the
Pache
Pache had a bigger needle.
Pache
in it.
is a booger to clean. Whew. Takes a while to clean that animal, but you want it to do right. That's what you do.
Now, I have a question. You know, I bought the Harbor Freight version of the airbrush gun, and I had an adapter to hook up to my hose on my compressor, my regular conventional compressor. And I'm wondering, does that work, or do you actually need those smaller compressors that are designed for airbrush paint guns?
It'll work. Just keep your pressure down below 20 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
That little tiny hose that comes with those things,
Yeah.
it'll explode. I mean, the hose is no bigger than an iPhone power cord.
Yeah, no, they aren't very big. I've seen the hose. I was just curious. I see these airbrush with their small compressors, and I'm wondering, am I supposed to be using that exclusively
No.
or not?
The only difference
I
is
have-
the little compressor's a lot quieter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when my big compressor fires up, everybody in the house knows it. When the little one fires up, the guy in the next, whoever's in the next room don't know it. But the little one will not shoot thicker paints. You've got the pressure, you don't have the volume.
That's true.
But the big one will. So the big one actually works better. When you get into really using an airbrush or an air gun, you'll use a full size compressor because it just works better. But run a 3/8 hose or a full size hose from your compressor out to your stand, and then run that through a dryer and a regulator, and then run whatever hose you want to run from there to your gun. And then if it blows up, you're only talking about 3 foot of hose. You haven't invested $100 in. I got a buddy that bought 100 foot of this hose that's so big, and it keeps bursting at different points down through it. And he keeps trying to repair it with brass tubing. And, oh, it's a nightmare. Just buy a decent hose to begin with, a real hose to begin with, and make it work. Howard, you're making me jealous with that wing thing you've got there. I love that. That's neat.
I thought he had a cricket paddle there going.
No, that's how he holds one wing. That's one wing of his airplane.
I know. I
That's
just
cool.
yank him his chain a little because
Oh,
he likes
okay.
it.
I was going to say that Iwatas were imported by a control line flyer. Will Nomura,
cool.
who's been on he was Crew Combat, and he was on the F2A team, speed team.
Okay.
All right. Didn't know that.
I'll tell you the thing about using an airbrush with the full-size compressors, you can paint a lot of stuff with an airbrush off a full-size compressor.
Yep.
Because it doesn't take much air at all.
Oh, okay.
You got most of your little air compressors for your airbrushes are on demand. You know, it's like a pump, just spray. It only runs when you're using it.
That's how mine
Some of
is, yeah.
a lot of the ones I've seen, they don't have a tank per se. It's just a pump.
Dennis,
But they are quiet.
put a thing on Stunt Hangar about a system that includes a dryer and filter and stuff like that. He has a schematic for it. Maybe
I saw one.
parts. I did that, and it works a treat.
I was going to say, I saw one on your wall there, Howard.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah, you got to have a good dryer. If you don't, you will have moisture in your paint.
Hey guys, I have a couple comments in the chat box. Let me get to that. Pardon me, Phil. I'll get right back to you, Phil. Peter says, I asked him earlier if you remember what is his interest, and he said that I don't fly yet, but I have an interest in it. Like to listen and learn, and that's fantastic, Peter. Yeah, please continue to draw from this stream or lake of information. We have lots of people here. Lots
Where is he located?
Do the same thing. There's, not everybody does it the same way. So, glean from everything and try everything and see what works best for you. And if you are interested in flying, hopefully you can find. If you can get into Stunt Hangar, I think they have I remember seeing a link where they talk about people that would help you get going in your area. Maybe there might be someone in your area By the way, where do you live, Peter? Maybe if you can tell us where you live. We might know someone that might be able to help you out. And then below Peter is Banshee 15. And that person says, always be careful with the needle. And I think that's regarding what you're saying, Jeff, right? Be
Yeah.
careful with the needle.
And
And then Peter Burrs, he goes on to say that I have an Iwata 0.3 millimeter nozzle with a Pache Talon 0.5 millimeter with a fan tip for spraying thicker paint and a bigger spray pattern. And then Peter Burrs says Calgary area here in Canada. So maybe Lynn might know somebody. I don't know where Lynn lives in Canada, but we have Chris Cox who lives up there in Canada. Lynn, and there's a guy named Daryl. His YouTube site is called Hogs and Planes. Maybe you can make a comment there. I know he's the only Canadian actor that actually has that website or YouTube channel. So check out Hogs and Planes. And see if, and then there's another guy, Robert Whiteley. He comes up time to time, and he also is in Canada. The next guy is Mel Rogers. He says, I just wanted to see what Lonky likes or looks like. He just wanted to see what Lonky looks like.
What's up, Mel? How you doing? I like your page. I enjoy the Half A High Performance Engine page very much. Keep up the good work. Lots of good stuff on there.
Fantastic.
Hey, Mike, how did your Tutor 2 fly?
Good. Yeah. We went flying yesterday. I'll give a little flight report after I get done messing with this pulse jet. Trying to get this thing ready for Arkansas next weekend.
Yeah, I saw Sam's flights. He was out there at the RC field.
Yeah.
He's buzzing around him. I thought, okay, this could get dangerous.
No, they know where the flight line is and they stay out in front of it. We're not in anybody's way out there. If we hit an RC plane, it's because the guy was flying behind the flight line where he wasn't supposed to be. So
yeah,
that's not my problem. We did have a guy last year. We were out there flying, and he kept flying right over the control line field when we were flying combat. And Ken went down there, and Sam and I were flying a match, and we had a midair. And this guy was flying a big third scale gasser, 3D airplane. And Ken said, you see what they just did? They ran into each other and wrecked those airplanes. They don't care. Don't take your $5,000 airplane and fly it over the control line field because they don't care. And it'll be your fault because you're behind the flight line.
So that'll put the fear of God in that person.
Right. Yeah, it was just perfect timing because right when Ken was talking to him, pow, Sam and I hit, and he come back and he said, he saw you guys wreck, and he said, man, I don't want to be anywhere near that. It's like, well, stay on the other side of the flight line where you're supposed to be,
Smart man.
So, but yeah, I'll talk about our flying here in a little bit.
All right.
Because we had a bunch of maidens, a bunch of stuff went up for the first time.
I was looking through some of my files. I'm still trying to find a so-called lost file, and I found some files from my biplane that were newer than the one I showed. They pretty much look the same, but I actually had changed the name from 2-bit byte to $1.50.
What file?
You realize what it's going
What
to cost?
file are you missing?
We won't go into it right now.
If Denny was here, I'd ask you if it was still green.
No, it's a file for a drawing I need to get done, and I've got it there somewhere. It's just hiding from me.
Yeah,
So I'm going through all my flash drives and everything else because I know somewhere I've got it on one of them. But you know how long it takes to search through a whole bunch of files on a flash drive?
Mm-hmm. You'd think a little bitty flash drive wouldn't take that long to go through, but surprise.
Oh man, I got a
Amazing.
flash drive that's 264, 68, whatever gigs.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. When I got my first MS-DOS computer, I only had 348 mega.
Yeah. I
Right.
carried one around in my pocket for years. I just had my outer zone plans and that sort of thing on it. The ones that I liked enough to download. I got to looking at it one day and things got 250 plans on it.
Yeah.
Complete with articles. So maybe I need to quit carrying this in my pocket. You know,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's pretty valuable.
yeah.
You guys,
Yeah, it's
Brendan
kinda
wants to say something, so let me cut in and Brendan say something. Go ahead, Brendan.
Yeah, I got a couple things. First of all, my son tried outside squares today, and by the looks of the plane, I think the maneuver speaks for itself, right? Yeah, it did not go well today.
That was going to ask you that,
Kudos to him, though.
I
Yeah,
was going to ask you how that flew with one wing on it.
yeah, didn't go so hot. Actually, he's been killing it. He probably hasn't crashed in over a year, but I encouraged him on to look at outside squares today, and I encouraged him going from what I call a death dive, starting high, just trying to go that route. And I think he was a little iffy from the start, a little nervous, and yeah, he took it right into the ground. So,
Brendan, is he doing reverse wingovers yet?
you know what? We did that on our last flight, and then he did it again today. He's doing pretty good with those.
Okay, well, on his squares, don't have him start at 45 because that's half the distance of what he would do. Let him fly it up at 70 degrees and dive it down, and then just start bringing it down a little bit. And once it's definitely you have less time, but the pullout is the exact same as a reverse wing over. So
yeah, I started talking to him about the word reverse wing over and trying to give him some faith on that. That hey, it's the same stuff there.
Right. So get him doing reverse wing overs confidently, and then just have him fly the plane as high as he can before he starts his downward death dive, as you call it. And then he'll get his timing down, and eventually he can start entering it from a lower and lower altitude till he's comfortable hitting it from 45.
Yeah.
But I mean, realistically, even people in intermediate are hitting it from 50 degrees or even 55,
Yeah. So, but we obviously, we got a ways to go with this. But the other piece I was going to chime in with was the guy that was new to flying or thinking about flying. And I think there's a spot on the Stunt Hangar. What is it? Find one, teach one.
That's what it is. Yes.
But I'll give props for that and share a story. So Mike there, Lonty, got Angstrom and I interested in flying at the Brodak event, and that was a week-long event, and it was fantastic getting Angstrom up in the air and flying. But after everybody left, we had this like, well, what do we do now? We've got some parts, we got a couple planes. Like, how do we really make this thing run? And I found a guy on there, Dave Fretz is his name. He's a fun flyer. But his son Chris Fretz kind of makes the circuit on some stuff and is a pretty good flyer.
I know Chris pretty well.
Yeah, so Dave Fretz, I literally reached out to him on it, and the next morning he literally showed up at the Brodak field that I usually was flying at. He brought 2 Sterling Mustang planes for me and Angstrom and literally put them in our hands and said, "These are for you guys." And then he sat there for 3 hours, just walking us through planes and flying and stuff. And I'll tell you, it's just one of the most warming stories, because I just felt like I was in a weird, wonky place with this. And just to have that guy drive from Pittsburgh an hour 15 away from us,
wow,
and just show up and dedicate his morning, put planes in our hands and whatnot. So I don't know. I've flown with Dave and his son Chris a couple other times. It's at the park and whatnot, but that was just one of those stories and moments that really touched us and our family. So I just needed to share that about Dave and Chris's father, Dave. So wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, that's great. I think control line people are some of the best people on the planet, because I've had people been very generous and helpful to me also. I want to catch up on the chat box. I'm glad we have some activity here. And Banshee 15 says, why not try an outside square from inverted flight?
You can.
Yeah, I think that's where my son wanted to start, and then I was like, no, let's start from up high and just give it the down, 2 quick downs. Yeah, I think
the only issue with doing it from inverted flight is if he does the first leg too short.
Yes.
Then he's going to be lower than he would have been coming from way up high.
And that was my worry. My worry is I wanted to get a whole lot of.
He could put himself at 40 degrees. He could put himself at 40 degrees and decide, okay, I'm going on the downlet, and not realize where the ground is.
Yeah.
You know.
The ground will come up and smite thee.
Yeah.
That's a tendency.
I found
to
that the
do
ground
once in a
comes
while.
up faster than the plane goes down.
Yeah.
That was my scariest maneuver to learn. The outside square actually frightened me more than any other maneuver that I had to do. And so it took me a while. I actually was flying, and I would say, okay, next lap. Okay. Next time. Okay. Next one. Okay. And then I'd hear the motor burp, and I go, I got to try it next flight. I go another flight, and I go, okay,
Then
next
you were
one.
happy again.
Next one. So I finally said, well, let me just, so I actually did a wing over at the very top. I mean, I put the plane the furthest it could be from the ground, straight overhead. And that's where I started my outside maneuver. And then I was able to bring it down lower and lower and lower. So that's how I did it. Because that the idea of giving your plane down and going straight to the deck, that's a really scary
Which is
thing for
exactly
me.
what Mike said. Yeah.
My nemesis has always been the hourglass. I lost more planes trying to learn that darn maneuver.
Yeah, the hourglass is if you start it wrong, it's hard to fix it.
I kept trying to make it. I made it like this. And
Yeah.
Tom Looper finally says, "How wide are your shoulders?" 44. I mean, 44, 45. Why? He says, when you fly over this shoulder, pull up. When you get over this shoulder, pull up. You should be dead overhead. Pull up. Get to the other shoulder where you're actually pulling down. But anyway, pull down, get down here and pull up. And by George, it works.
Yeah.
But you want the maneuver. You want the maneuver to look like this, not this.
That's
Everybody
right.
tries to do this. They all try to do this. If you do it as wide as you do a triangle, it's not right.
Because the book shows you.
The book shows you to do it, and you think it's 2 triangles.
Yeah.
But if you actually try to fly that when you're learning, now once you get some time on you, okay, it really is 2 triangles. But you've got to get those triangles. You've got to think about making it tall and skinny, or you're actually making it really wide. And you can't pull out at the bottom if you make it too wide, and that's where I lost a lot of airplanes trying to.
A lot of us guys are wide.
Yeah, the situation there, Phil, is tall and skinny is what you do after you learn how to do. That's what you do when it's really windy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're tall and skinny, but once you learn what you're doing, it actually is 1 triangle, up triangle, and a 2 equilateral triangle.
Yeah.
Tip to tip. The problem is some people get an oblique triangle going.
Yeah. Then they got.
And other things. Yeah.
Yeah, it cost me a lot of airplanes before I learned that maneuver. But the windier it is, the taller and skinnier you make it. And the thing that has saved me more airplanes than anything else, I believe, is I've learned Tom Dixon pulled me aside at the contest and asked me, why in the devil do you fly your maneuvers where you fly them? I said, Tommy, what do you mean? And he says, I've seen you fly for years and you continue to do the same mistake. And I thought, what's the mistake? He said, look, dead downwind is that way. And we were at Virginia at the NAS facility, the the Navy's airport up there, and the cracks in the concrete are no joke, 1.5 inches wide. But I kept flying dead downwind. The entire maneuver, dead downwind. He said, "Look, the wind's here. Well, I'll do it this way. If the wind's here, do your insides over here. That way, the down leg is dead downwind. The best line tension is you getting your best line tension when you're headed at the ground. Over here, it's going to help you lift it because you're going into the wind. Coming down leg, you got the most line tension to keep it straight. When you do your outsides, it's the same thing. Best line tension is coming out, where you're going to be coming out. And over here, it'll help you lift it. Your squares are the same way." And that finally clicked in my head. Tom Looper had tried to tell me that. A couple other guys have tried to tell me that. Tom Dixon finally got that to click in my head. And it works.
You know,
but go ahead.
You know what it also does is it helps stop the airplane from winding up.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, because when you come around here, you're coming more into the wind, and then you're coming downwind directly with the wind. But if you do it directly downwind, like a loop centered right on the wind, downwind, you got right. It's like a kite out here. It just speeds up as you go around. But if you bias it, like we're talking about, insides to this side, outsides to this side,
yeah,
it helps.
Don't wind up near as bad.
Here comes Lynn Burrell.
Oh gosh,
Len is here.
Lynn's coming in. And by the way, Mike Lonke, Mel Rogers says, "I am coveting that pulse jet."
A lot of us are, brother.
Lonke is a pulse jet king.
I mean that. He's got more of them than anybody I've ever known.
And you guys, Howard Rush, he'd like to say something when you guys give him a chance.
Go for it, Howard.
Look for the Alberta Control Line Flying Club. They have a Facebook page, and they might be on the. They might have a web page too. But there's guys in Calgary and there's guys in Edmonton. And
okay, for you. That's for you, Peter. So go on Facebook. You said, Howard.
Facebook, Alberta Control Line Flying Club Facebook page.
And then there's one lonely Canadian up in Northwest Territories, Gordon Van Tighem, I think it is.
Yeah.
No, Gordon's up in what's it called, Bluefin?
I thought he was in the Northern Territory.
No, actually, I talked to him at VSC last year. Him and his wife drove down from I think he said Bluefin. Is that right?
Don't know.
Or the Yellowfin?
Yellowknife.
Yellowknife.
Yellowknife is in the Northwest Territory.
Maybe. And hey, Lynn, can you hear us, Lynn?
Lynn.
Anyways, Lynn, there's a guy in Calgary who's interested in, I believe, in flying control line. And so I was hoping maybe you might be able to direct him to someone in Canada that he maybe could hook up with, but maybe even you. I don't know how far you are from Calgary. I'm not familiar with.
Not in the same part.
He's in the eastern part of Canada.
Yep. He's in Ontario.
That's for Mel Rogers if he's out there drooling. And
yeah, I made it big. It's like a centerfold.
Yeah, there's another one.
There's your centerfold, Mel. And
yeah, I'm a long way from Calgary.
Oh, okay.
Like way long.
Yeah, we have a guy, Lynn, who's interested in control line. He's actually in the chat box. His name is Peter Burrs, and he's interested. Okay. So I'm hoping we can hook him up with somebody near Calgary.
Yeah, see, I don't know who's near Calgary. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know any of the guys out west at all. I don't deal with the guys out there. I haven't had the opportunity to. I've never been out west. Okay. I've never been west. I've never been west of Ontario, so I'm like in a different world to them.
Where are you located, Len?
I'm in Chatham area near Detroit.
Oh, okay.
That's
Just on the other
Chris
side
Cox,
of the border.
I think Chris Cox is close.
He's out west somewhere.
Yeah, and the Alberta group isn't Calgary in Alberta?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Alberta group,
Yeah.
yeah, the Alberta group would be a really good group to hook up with.
Yeah.
For sure.
Chris
That's who he needs to. That's who he needs to get a hold of. Who Howard said.
Yeah.
And maybe even check out the website flyinglines.org. You might get some insight there too. There's some
Well, and there might be
contributors
some links there.
See, I'm not a good guy to go to for the guys out there because I don't know their goings on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
Maybe
Charles?
catch up on. Yeah.
Well, I was going to tell Mel, I thought maybe I would take up juggling.
Oh.
These things
Well, you know
look like
what,
juggling batons, don't they? Don't clowns
They look like it. They do. You should get Shug to do that for you.
Yeah.
Shug Emery. And by the way, Mike
Yeah,
Wonky, he said that your plane was pulse porn.
Pulse porn.
Pulse.
I like it. I like it.
So on the chat box, let me continue. Brent Williams, he says, you can try Paul Walker's recent outside square loop method, which has the entry from level flight. Just imagine that you're doing a square 8 minus the inside. Saves you from starting with a dive. Yeah, matter of fact, I saw that, Brent, at the Nats. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's interesting. And I thought, yeah, that's legal. That's different. Why haven't I thought to do that? Yeah, so he took off from level flight and did his outside square. I thought that was neat. Not to mention it helps slow the plane down too, to set up for that that corner. And then
The coffin corner.
What, John?
The coffin corner.
Oh, the coffin corner, right? Then Peter Burrs says there's a group in Lethbridge, 2 or 3 hours away. Now, I sure hope you can find somebody closer than that, Peter. Check out flyinglines.org. You might find some links there, or these. I know there's some guys from Canada. Matter of fact, I see them at the Golden State Stunt Championship. I think Alan Rislinger. Isn't he from Canada?
Yeah, for sure. He's from out west, but I don't know exactly where either.
Vancouver. Chris is from Vancouver. That's
Is that close to
He
Calgary?
must be somewhere near Chris Cox. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both in Vancouver. They're nearby.
All right.
And Alberta's the next province over to the right. It's a long way.
Yeah.
But they go to our contests and we go to theirs. I haven't been to the famous Prairie Fire contest in Edmonton, but it's a great contest.
So Peter Burrs said, got the Alberta Facebook link. We'll check it out later. So
Good.
that's good. And let me see here. And Mike, regarding to you juggling those pulse jets, Peter says, Mel says, wow, and he's laughing out loud.
Yeah, I got a problem with them.
And we are.
Mike has an affliction.
We're at around right now where we've had as many as 20 viewers, I believe, and we have only 15 likes. So if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button, share, subscribe, and also consider joining our YouTube channel. Joining our YouTube membership channel. Yeah, hit the join button. You can start with as little as $4.99 a month, and that helps the channel. Appreciate it very much in advance for what you're doing. And then Peter Burr says, Ken Bird and Bruce Perry are admins for the Alberta group. Yeah. And so we're back. And Mike would like to speak. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'll give you all a little flying report if you're interested in hearing about our day.
Let me make you big. Let me make you big. Hang on. Let me get my mouse over there. There we go.
So we packed up 5 airplanes and went out to the Coffee Airfoilers, our big RC club that has 2 control line circles on it. And we had an 80% success rate with 5 airplanes. We made in the Tudor, needed a little bit of trimming on that, but actually it flew pretty damn good. The Tom Dixon LA 46 purred like a kitten, ran great. I ended up sticking half an ounce of lead on the tail on that one. So I think what I might do is got the full size muffler on, because when I balanced it, it balanced right on the money with the stock OS muffler, but it was actually nose heavy. It was real sluggish pulling out of maneuvers and stuff. So I put a half ounce on the tail and that took care of that. It turns just fine now. So I'm probably going to take that OS stock muffler off and put a tongue muffler on it, figure out what the weight difference was, and then adjust the tail weight for that. So that went pretty well. Sam maidened his Vector. Well, I maidened it. It needed a little more tip weight, and the flaps were off a little bit. It was turning in on the inside, so I had to tweak the flaps a little bit. But after that, and just adding another 1/4 ounce of tip weight, flies like a dream. Again, the Tom Dixon LA 46 purrs like a kitten, and it flew really well. Sam put up 2 flights on it. Now, at that point in the day, it was gusting to like 12 or 13. So he only did inside and outside maneuvers. He didn't do any overheads with it or, try an hourglass or anything like that, because it was too windy and he didn't want to ball it up. Right. So the plan is Saturday after profile in Arkansas, he'll get some flights on the Vector 40 and put some full patterns on it so he can use it for Sunday. But I don't anticipate any problems with it. It flew really good, pretty much after just a little bit of trimming, and it doesn't pull a lot. He's real happy with it. He was actually like, "Dad, this is the best airplane I've ever flown." So wow, I think he's a good airplane. I think he's going to go far with that. What else? I took the SV11 with the PA61. I put up 5 flights on that, and the first 3 were god awful, horrible, but the last 2 were pretty respectable. I think I knocked the dust off anyway, so I felt pretty good about that. The Mobest was a bust, unfortunately. The plane flew great, but I had a tank issue with it, so I never really got to do anything. I put up a flight. It ran about half a tank, and then it just went screaming lean on me. And it did the same thing on the second flight. So there's got to be something in the tank that's getting sucked up into the pickup line. That's the only thing I can figure. So, but initially, the flights, it flies good. I think it's going to be a good combination with the PA40 side exhaust. The speed, when it was running right, the speed was right. It had all the right tension. Marshall built it well because I didn't have to do anything to it. It was trimmed out pretty well. So pretty happy with that. And then we brought the beat up the old Cardinal again with the Tom Dixon LA 46. Purred like a kitten, ran like a charm. And Sam smoked in about 4 patterns with that one. Now his first one was pretty sloppy. But by his second flight, I mean, he was doing as well as he can do in intermediate. I thought he did really well. So, and by then the wind had calmed down a lot later in the afternoon. So he's raring to go next weekend to hit the El Dorado contest, and we'll be back at it again. We had a really good day. Awesome. And one of the club members who also dabbles in control line, he's a really big rocket guy, and he shot off some pretty impressive rockets for us yesterday as well. Just giant stuff. I mean, like 7 foot tall K motors or something like that, I or K motors. But he had to limit them to 2,000 feet because we fly on an Air Force base there, and he's not allowed to shoot them over 2,000 feet. But he had it worked out pretty well. He sent it up, and it landed within 200 feet of the launch pad, the big one. And then he had a really cool RC rocket glider. It was a biplane, like a Red Baron biplane with a big jet motor that shot it up about 800 feet. And then he glided it back in and brought it right back to the launch pad. So that was very interesting.
Yeah.
And we got to see a guy wreck a big 3D gasser, like, you know, one of those $3,000 or $4,000 airplanes. He was out there farting around doing all that stuff, and he just broke the airplane right in two.
Oh, too bad.
Makes you look.
Did you bring 5 airplanes home?
We brought 5 airplanes home.
Well,
That's
I
why
call
said-
that 100% success.
Well, we had 80% success. 4 airplanes flew, and they flew well, and they're in the stable now, ready to go to contests. I was really hoping I could get the Mobest worked out because I wanted to take that to El Dorado with me, but I guess I'll just fly the Tudor. It'll work.
If I bring them all home in one piece, that was 100% for me.
Yeah. I don't have a tank big enough for that PA-40 in my stash. I'm going to have to order one, so it won't get here in time.
Very good. Good report.
Mike, can't you go get a round a plastic tank and put on it?
I could go if I had time this week. I could go to the hobby shop and do that, but I just don't have time this week.
How big?
Hey, Mike,
how
why
big a
don't you
tank
just
think
get some?
you need?
Say again, Phil.
How big a tank do you think you need?
Everybody's telling me 5.5 ounces is a safe bet for a PA-40 side exhaust. So I think I want to go with 6 just to have that margin of error. But when I asked on the forum, everybody said it'll burn 5.5. So I need a 5
ounce. What kind of tank mount do you use? What kind of tank mount are you using?
Either way, top and bottom or side to side, you know, on the sliding brackets.
Well,
I mean, I can get one. It's not a big deal. I gotta order some stuff from RSM anyway.
I was going to send you one. I'd love to see that thing fly, or at least hear that it flew. The downside of that is you'll end up flying it against me, and you're a pretty good flyer. So.
Well, maybe. I don't know. It'll get fixed. It's just I got other profiles to fly, so it's not. Now it's unfortunate because I did want to fly it this weekend at Arkansas.
It's a beautiful airplane.
It'll be out at the next contest. So.
Yeah, it's a beautiful airplane. Marshall did a good job on that plane.
Well, you might not see it till Huntersville in October because Canton is a maybe for us now.
Oh shucks.
Well, they moved it to September, and they put it smack dab on the same weekend as the Michigan State meet for combat. I mean,
I heard they moved it, but I didn't know when they moved it to.
Yeah, they moved it from August to September, and it's Michigan meet, and that's one we don't miss. So I don't know. I got to weigh it. I can drive 8 hours and fly 3 days of combat, or I can drive 4 hours and fly 2 days of stunt. What should we do?
Yeah, being as you're 2 combat guys, you guys are going to go fly combat. That's a shame.
Yeah, well, we'll just see when it rolls around.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you again anyway. Whatever. It's always fun when you're there.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And it was Sam had a really good day, man. It was good to see him out and being excited about flying again. And he was pretty jazzed up. And of course, I was praising him a lot because he really was flying well for not flying since last year. I mean, second, third flight, he was just burning in good patterns with good pullouts, and you know, I was pretty proud of him.
He's got darn good reflexes. He's gonna be a heck of a pilot.
He didn't lose a thing over the winter, so pretty happy about
awesome.
That. And hopefully this Vector is really going to up his game in Pampa. You know,
I'll tell you what, I love mine. I've got a Vector electric, and that is a really fun airplane to fly. Everybody, all my locals fuss at me because I'm not flying ignition because I have an SV11 with a Tiger 60 that really flies well, but it pulls they don't understand. I got bad shoulders. 30 years of climbing poles, you're wore out.
I was just going to say the same thing after flying my SV yesterday and flying the Vector. I was like, this flies really nice, and I'm not, not having to work so hard. And I mean, the Vector flies well enough,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Till you get to a contest, I'm about decided I'm going to have I'm going to fly the fuel models will be in either old times or classic, and then the electrics will be in the profiles and the opens that go to contests at least. I mean, I've got at least 4 fuel profiles downstairs: the Bearcat, the Teosaki, the Mariah, and the Stingers are all fuel airplanes. Mariah is not finished, but it's one I've got under construction. But they're all fuel planes. But I think the contest stuff is going to be electric, but the fun planes are going to be fuel because the local guys just really, I catch it for flying electric, turncoat, all those things. They all give me a hard time. But I finally let it slip the other week. While I went electric with my contest planes is to keep one of our guys from fooling my darn needle valve. He keeps coming up. You know who I'm talking about. He come up at 2 different contests and twiddled my needle valve and cost me a flight.
Wow.
That's absolutely disgusting.
I would never touch someone's needle valve unless they tell me to.
Well, I told him not to. It was
that's
I was flying my big
disgraceful.
stunt wagon. I was flying my big stunt wagon 60, which is a Fox 59, and the plane is a little overweight, and it's old, but it's fun to fly. And I set it with a tack and walked out to the handle. He come up and turned it down and said, "That's too. You got it running too fast." I told Tommy, "Shut it off. Just turn it off." So that was an attempt. So I pulled it over to the side, pulled all the fuel out of it, got it ready, and in 3 flights I went to go up again, and he came over and I'm screaming at him, "Don't touch it! Don't touch it! Shut it off! I'm out. That's it. I'm done." So I go to take the plane off circle, and one of the judges come over and he says, "You get that plane ready in 3, and if there's not 3 more flyers, you get that plane ready in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. You're going to fly. I want to see that plane fly." And he walked over to the other person and told him, "You touch that needle valve, I'll disqualify you from the contest."
Good.
So he did. I finally got up a flight, but by then I was so rattled, I beat him. But I think I could have done much better in that contest than what I did. Don't think I could have beat Tom Looper. He was flying the Viking, and he was really flying well that day. Nah, he wasn't on the Viking. He was flying the Humongous, and he was really flying well that day. And I don't think I could have touched Tommy or Charlie Reeves, either one. But I could have done better than 5th.
Wow, that's terrible.
Well, it just, you have some people that want to win, and you have some people that just want to sabotage.
Yeah, you have all kinds of people out at the contest and even in his hobby. So, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. I finally told him in another contest. He walked toward the airplane, and I turned around, laid the handle, and I walked back toward my plane. I said, "You touch that needle valve, I'm going to break you." I can't say it over there.
Is there anybody else that can launch your plane for you? Can you just say...
He's not the launcher. Tom
No
was
way.
launching for me.
I assume
I
he
can't
was
believe that.
No,
I'm in shock.
He wasn't launching. No,
Man,
Tom
I want to
was
see
launching
some bum fights at a contest over there.
I'll tell you what.
I'm telling you, Mike. Really?
Michael,
I can't believe
Any-
someone walked up to you.
Anybody touches my needle valve and I get disqualified, they're going to get knocked out.
Knocked out. That's right.
Yeah, it's a Canadian punch though, so it's only half as heavy as an American one.
Oh
Well,
my
I'm gonna
God!
tell you
Here we
what.
go.
I try not to show. I try not to show
Unbelievable.
that side of me, especially at the contest. But I did grow up in Southside, and I do know how to fight.
That's where you carry one of those 28-inch props in your back pocket and you smack them upside the head with it.
No, I hit them upside the head with my hand.
I don't want to break my hand. I'm already crippled. I can't do that.
See, the thing people forget: don't hit them with this. Hit them with this. You won't break this. You'll break this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Karate
Anyways, let me get back to the chat a little bit. There's a guy, Dan15. He says, "Hey, I got to run. Lines tight, low winds. Catch you again later. Good night, Tom from Chicagoland." Thank you, Tom from Chicagoland. Thanks for coming in.
Take care, Tom.
And I hope that you gave us a like on your way out or on your way in. And speaking of that, we're up to 19 likes. So thank you guys. Thank you, gals and gents who are listening. That's pretty good. And if you're watching this as a replay, please hit the like button. Please share. And please consider joining our YouTube channel. Hit the join button. And when you subscribe, which doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, hit the notification bell and select all so that whenever I'm on or Sparky's on, you'll get a notification that we're streaming. So thank you in advance for doing that.
I got 2 things done on my list tonight. That's enough work, right?
Hey, that's 2 more than
2 more than I did.
Yeah,
that's 2 more than I did.
That's great.
Well, I got to swap that muffler out on the Tudor. I'm going to make up brand new sets of lines for my SV and a new set for Sam as well. I got 1,000 feet of 15 and 18s in there. I just figure new season, we've been using those lines a couple years. Let's retire them, and why take a chance, right?
What kind of lines are these?
It's from Melvin. It's his stuff from MBS.
Oh, okay. Stainless steel, 7
Yeah,
strand?
yeah. The braided stuff that Melvin sells. I bought 1,000 of the 18 because I use them in fast combat, and then a guy that flew here, he thought he was going to make lines for a little while, but he never ended up making any, and he had 1,000 feet of 15, and he gave it to me.
Oh, so nice.
I took it.
That's good.
Yeah, I won't say no to that.
I have a question, you guys. I have an idea. I was just thinking, has anybody ever tried this on your weight box? You know, the lead weights you put in there? Normally, you just have it slide through the 440 bolt, right? And I was wondering if anybody ever tapped those to like a 440 thread so a lot of people will put stuff in the box or springs to keep the weights from moving. But I was thinking if we tapped it, then the weight won't move at all.
You could if they were steel. If you got steel and weighed it out appropriately, you could.
Oh, you can't tap lead?
The
No.
lead
Well, it's
never
too
hold
soft,
the
it'll
threads.
just rip right out. All you need to do is
what I
put
was,
some fuel lines.
that's what I was wondering, why we haven't done that.
All you need to do is put some fuel tubing. Forget all this fancy springs and all this junk. Use fuel tubing. Then if you got it a little bit too long, when you get the bolt in, screw it in, it just mashes.
Yeah,
It
good idea.
just mash. It'll get rid of all the vibration. It eats up the vibration, keeps the plates apart.
Yeah.
Acts like a lock nut, puts pressure on it so it don't back out.
Okay, that's a good idea.
I like to put paper towel in the box, little pieces of paper towel.
Yeah, I remember Wendy.
Well, that works too.
I remember Wendy doing that too.
That's what I used to do, but I think I'll try the fuel tube.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I use a foam rubber from wrapping RC radios or receivers and batteries.
Yeah.
I used to do that too, but I found this fuel tube and it weighs less. Of course, I don't know why I'm worried about weighing less. We're talking about a weight box.
It's a weight box, right?
But
right.
But anyway, it works. And if you ever use the 440s or 632s, whatever, that are button heads to make them look nice, take a little bitty piece of fuel tubing, about as little as you can cut, just make a little washer out of fuel tubing and put under that. It looks neat. It squashes out around it and it looks neat, but it also acts like a gasket and the stuff won't vibrate.
That's a good idea.
Vibration. I couldn't find the vibration. I couldn't find it. I said, I keep hearing a buzz. What is it? And I'd always noticed my weight box cover was loose again. I said, what the heck? So I made those little gaskets and put under the button heads. It's never come loose again.
Very good tip. I'm going to write that down, Phil. That was worth the admission to the show. Thank you very much.
Yeah. That particular airplane uses a nut, a 440 that's in the weight box, and you put the weights on it. Then you put a blind nut on that, and the lid goes on and has a screw that holds the lid on. But that vibration was driving me crazy. I can't stand the rattle, whether it's my car or my motorcycle or an airplane. I can't.
Yeah, I can't stand rattles either.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil?
Yes, sir.
My airplane
Yes.
uses a nut too. It's usually at the end of the strings.
Oh, me too. Mine has a big nut at the end of the string. 6'4",
Hey, look,
240 and crazy.
I have a comment here from Gerald Wimmer. Hey, Gerald. He
Hey,
says,
Gerald.
hello, Charles, and all those on Stunt Hangar. Interesting show as usual. Lots to learn. Well, thank you, Gerald. And I know that we can learn a lot from you as well. I wish you was in here, but I know you you got things going on over there at home and all that. You know, different time zone too. But appreciate you coming in. Appreciate it very much, Gerald.
Howard, I got a question for Howard when he comes back. I guess I'll have to wait a minute. He's off screen.
There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Here I am.
Howard, after Nats, are you going to be able to tell us where you got that wing, that take apart kit you got, and hope the guy will make another one?
Well, let's see. There's a couple of them. One came from Mike Haverly. He's Haverly. He's here in town.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ark. So somehow Siri heard me and chimed in. But Ark, I forget his last name, is a buddy of Chris Cox and Alan Ressinger. He makes them also. These are the Paul Walker specs. So either of those guys make you take apart things.
I'm gonna have to try to get in touch with one of them because that system you're using.
Email addresses.
I appreciate it. That take apart system and the way you build it, with it being able to come apart and work on one wing at a time, that interests me. I'm gonna give that a try. That's neat.
You know, make repairing and just building and finishing. Right?
Yes. Yeah, when I hit a cone, a traffic cone with my wing taken off one time, it made it easier to build a new wing.
And how?
Trick is to get a traffic cone, though. I don't know if old Mel Rogers is still out there watching, but I just sent you our friend request, Mel. Maybe we can get you hooked on Dynajets or something. I know you're a big speed guy. I know you fly a lot of high performance piston engine stuff. Get you on a pulse jet.
Yeah, I think he's still out there. He hasn't commented in a while, but he's still out there, I suspect.
Okay.
Oh,
Hey,
Mike,
Phil?
yes, sir.
All my planes are take apart. Just they don't go back together as easy as they come apart.
Yeah, I've had some.
I'm familiar.
I've had some fall aparts.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah, mostly the wings will just fall off the fuselage, you know, as a lawn dart.
Somehow I knew he was going to say that.
Yeah.
What was you going to say, Phil?
I got my sleeve and pistons from Brian in the other day, and somehow I was expecting OS. I got it mixed up. I was expecting OS, and I got Super Tiger parts. So I got out my three Super Tigers, and I haven't taken the third one apart yet. But the first one I took apart, I went to put the sleeve and piston in, and I said, "Oh, now wait a minute." I went and got the mics out. There's 15 thousandths difference in what he sent me and my case. And I said, "Oh no, I can't. I don't know what I'm gonna do here." So I was talking to one of my buddies today, and he said, "No, you've got an early series ST46 and a late series sleeve and piston to go in it." So I pulled another ST46 apart and cleaned it up good because it was a varnished up mess. I bought it at one of the RC sales, and I cleaned the case up and got it all put. I took the sleeve and put it in there. It went in there. It didn't just fall in, but it was a nice slip fit. So it's one of those things you look at and you think, "Oh no, what happened here?" And then I didn't realize there was two different cases. I made a thin sleeve and a thick sleeve for the Tiger 46. If you try to put a thick sleeve in a thin sleeve motor, it don't work.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's a bigger hammer.
Yeah, I've,
I got.
And what
You
was
ever
the
dealt with,
reason for that?
I don't know. I guess
just
they
different
just made 'em
manufacturer runs, I think. You know, I came
probably.
across that when I used to when I was talking to Frank Bowman. He's a really good engine guy. Anybody familiar with Frank Bowman?
Yeah.
I know he's focused mostly on rings, and then he sold that business to another individual. But prior to all that, Frank was a really good engine man, and he could tell you. He has all kinds of documentation on what engine uses what sleeve, what part, because it's like at least 3 different divisions of parts for the Super Tiger 46.
Wow.
Yeah. I had never taken one completely apart, but I got to take it apart and take it to. I got a buddy who bores. He builds racing boat engines. Excuse me, and he's my bass fishing partner. And called him and said, "Can you hone this thing out?" He said, "How big is it?" And I told him. He says, "I don't have anything that small, but I'll get something." He said, "I'll get something." He said, "We'll fix you up." So he's going to hone it out 10 or 15,000. He said, "Just bring me the sleeve and bring me the case, and it'll be a slip fit when I give it back to you." So I'll take it to Bob, and he'll get it fixed. He's a heck of a machinist. Totally self-taught, but he's a heck of a machinist.
Wow,
but he builds racing motors for. He used to build racing motors for Mercury.
Wow. Hey, Mike Lonke, Mel Rogers says, I did that. And so you have a new friend. And then he goes on to say, I'm new to speed. I came from RC Pylon, new to this tricky stuff. Then he goes on to say, got interested in control line because I found out that they too, kind of like Picos, here I am chasing a new aspect of modeling for me.
All right, cool.
I only have one question about that. He's trying to get used to speed, and he flew RC Pylon.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched RC Pylon?
But he wasn't holding on to that.
Those things go by so I can't see I can't keep up with it to turn it. I went to watch that thing. I'd always thought I'd love to watch RC Pylon. I'd love to get into that because it just looked neat. I went to the Nationals and watched one meet. I watched about 3 heats, and I went back to the stunt circles. I can't think that fast. Those
Charles?
guys are incredible.
Yeah, Mike.
I'd like to share a screen here. We were talking about SIG manufacturing the other day.
Yeah.
I know which one you got.
I did find the pictures.
Second, Mike. While on the subject, Mel says, I love engine talk. Go ahead. Now we're all caught up.
All right. In their latest post, I did manage to find the pictures of the Skyray XL prototype.
Wow,
that's
nice.
Neat.
So it's like, it's just an enlarged version. I'm guessing it's, like a 46 sized airplane or whatever. There's a few of them here. I'll just scroll through them real quick.
Nice.
Cool.
I like that color scheme.
I wish there was something to scale that we could compare it to.
Right. Yeah.
It just does
those tubes. Go back one, Mike.
What tubes are you talking about?
Tubes on the side. That looks like a 3-inch tube.
Okay. So there's that one, and there's one more. That one there. So you get a good look at the profile anyway.
That is cool.
And I don't know who built this prototype. I thought I saw something on Stunt Hangar about it a long time ago because it was look at the photos dated 2017. That's 4 years ago. 4 years ago.
Very nice. Thanks for showing that. That looks really good. I have a Skyray. It looks nothing like that. Of course,
that's a Fox motor, but I can't see enough to see which one.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a Fox muffler.
Yeah. Well, it ain't no 25.
No, it looks like a 40.
40 or a 45, right?
Yeah, it might be a 45. Yeah.
Is that an 11-inch prop, 12-inch prop?
It looks like 11 inches.
Looks like a big prop, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing on that thread that the president of SIG posted, because he says he's reading all the comments from any of the modelers that are leaving comments on his post. I wrote in there that, you know, there's a lot of control line guys that like SIG kits, and the general consensus is if you brought the primary force ARF back to market, that it would be a big seller, because, you know, they are doing all the RC ARFs now. They just brought 400 or 500 of them in on a truck here recently. They're on their way to SIG right now, that they just manufactured in Vietnam. And he specifically asked, what models do you want to see? So I just threw something in there about, you know, control line models and trying to get the primary force ARF back, you know.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Good deal, Mike.
I'd buy two of them just to put them on the shelf, you know. For
Hey,
later
Mike,
on.
you should give us all the email, and we should all send one in for that.
Well, just go to SIG Manufacturing's Facebook page. I mean, he's doing weekly updates on the Balsa stuff. So in that thread too, with the pictures, they showed the pictures of the 2 laser cutters that they just had put in place. The Balsa is on its way to Chicago. It's going to be then a short truck ride from Chicago to SIG, and, you know, they're going to start cutting, and they're going to have Balsa available again. So, and then, you know, they got a couple truckloads full of RC ARFs coming. And he's asking, what do you guys want? What do you want to see? So,
are you going, John?
No. I'm just gonna. I wanted to ask Mike. Did you see that picture where they had the stacks and stacks of 4x4 by 8 foot balsa in it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was all numbered on the end. How many? What pound? What 4 pound, 6 pound, even had 12 pound. I mean, balsa.
Well,
They had.
I mean, I still have the page up. If you would like to see the other pictures from SIG, I can share them if you guys want to see it.
Sure. And while you're doing that, Mike, Mel Rogers says,
Hey.
They be easier than spinning fast, I found out. And he also says RC is easier.
Yeah.
Well, radio is easier, but this is more challenging, and this is where it all began.
Yep. Here we go.
Actually, RC predates control line.
It does?
Well, I'm just going to scroll through these. You'll get the idea. These are the guys in Vietnam making all the ARFs.
Wow, look at that.
Holy cow.
Wow.
I mean, SIG isn't screwing around. They're coming back. All this stuff is headed to the United States right now for the RC market.
Wow.
Nice.
Those are all. Now, wouldn't that be awesome if that was all control line kits and primary force ARFs and Skyray XLs?
Not for me, it wouldn't be.
Nice. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Wow.
The raw balsa's in here somewhere. I'm just not sure where.
Look at the wings. Holy crap.
I'm trying to figure out what those fuselages for. They look like SBDs or something like that.
That's what I was thinking.
There it is. There's the raw balsa.
Yeah.
Good gracious.
Wow.
So he secured a supplier. That's the cargo ship coming in, I guess. Keeping people updated on where the cargo ship was. And
wow, that's neat.
This is in the shop. That's going to be their balsa cutting station there, I think is what the caption said. I think those are the laser cutters he was talking about, or parts of them maybe.
Wow.
Hey, Charles,
that's phenomenal.
That cargo ship's coming in right down here at Long Beach. You want to meet me there and intercept it?
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
that's the laser
Hey,
cutter.
was it coming in Long Beach? Man. See if we can get
Look
it
at that.
off the boat.
Look at all that. Hey, that's mine.
Yeah.
All of that's yours, man.
Yeah, that's mine right there.
And then there's the classifications they're going to use for it. Now, the one thing, Steve Fenton actually commented on this because they consider contest balsa up to 7 pounds now, and Steve asked them if they would please lower it back to 6 pound weight.
Yeah, I know.
Most of mine's green or blue.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, there's a lot of 6s in there. You know, if you look at that, there's a lot of 6 pound balsa. So if you can, there's a lot of heavier stuff too. But he also describes through the
Wow, look at that.
You know, where the harder balsa goes in, you know, into what types of airplanes he's using the harder stuff. But
Blend planes.
and there's actually a really good diagram in here too about A, B, and C grain balsa and what part of the tree it comes from. I think it's right there. There you
There
go.
it is.
Yep.
I have that.
I have
on a
that. Yeah,
page.
that's. I think that's available on
Wow.
their website. That's
That
on their
used to be
website, I believe, the SIG website.
There used to be a
That's
page
cool.
in the AMA magazine that had that picture in it and explained A, B, and C.
Yep.
It was in the magazine one month. I have it framed on my wall in the shop.
Yep.
I
That
refer
was
to
the-
it often.
That was the last picture, guys.
That was neat.
So,
You know, speaking of balsa
Thanks for
wood,
sharing that, Mike.
yeah, thank you, Mike. Speaking of balsa wood,
Thanks, Mike.
Harbor Freight used to sell this pocket scale, and I would carry the pocket scale when I went to a hobby store, and I'd weigh the wood. But one thing I can't find, but I had, is a chart of how much, 4 pound, 16-inch thick, 3-inch wide, 36-inch length should weigh if it's 4 pounds. So I would just
You
know.
download it. You can download it at the bottom of Stunt Hangar. There's a forum down there that has all the downloadable stuff, and it has the that particular little doodad program to do that.
yeah, the balsa density calculator. It's pinned, I think. It's pinned on.
Oh, I had the calculator, but I mean, there was a nice little small sheet which had just the actual weight. So you just go in and look for a certain weight, as opposed to doing the calculation.
Oh, okay.
Charles, did you have the little one that looks like a thing that's got a little pin in it that hangs?
No.
The weight scale. I'll have to
No,
do that sometime.
it was like a 4x6 or 4x8 little sheet, and it had certain.
No, I mean
certain,
your
like
scale itself
16th
that went
inch,
in your
8th inch, 3/32, 3-inch
No, I mean,
wide.
He's asking about your scale.
Right here.
Your little scale.
Like this.
Your little.
No,
Yeah,
that's it.
the one that Ed has. That's what I have.
Oh,
All right, I have one
Harbor
like
Freight
that
used to
too,
sell that. They don't sell it anymore.
Yeah,
Phil.
I have one downstairs. It's a little postal scale. I got in all kinds of trouble. I about got into all kinds of trouble about that. Walking in the hobby shop, there was a cop in there, a narc, and he saw me with that thing in my pocket. I pulled it out, make sure I had it with me, and put it back in my pocket. And he come up and wanted to arrest me. I said, "Get your mind out of the gutter." And the owner of the hobby shop knew me. She called me and told me we got a new shipment in. And every time she get a new shipment in, I go back there, and you'd always find pinholes in it because I'd weigh every piece. If it was contest grade stuff, it went in this stack over here.
Sure.
If it wasn't, I put it up. But I'd always put their boss up for them, but I'd weigh it. And I'd go in there with a couple $100 in my pocket and come home with no money in my pocket, but a whole bunch of balsa. I still got
Phil, I had one of those. I had one of those scales, Phil, but I wasn't weighing balsa with it back in the day.
Yeah, I was weighing balsa. I grew up in Southside, and blotter blades were invented 2 doors down. But that's one of the few things I never got into. I knew if I ever got into it, I was ruined because I don't have hobbies. I have obsessions. I obsess on everything, so I didn't get into that. I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't mess with that. Never messed with that mess. But
Very good.
I can't say I don't talk too rough sometimes. I believe I could get with a Chinaman, and by the end of the week, I'd have a Chinese accent. So I try to stay away. I try to stay away from people who cuss a lot because by the end of the week, I'll be trying to cuss, and it's hard for me to stop. So I just try not to get into it.
I guess it's a good thing you wasn't in the Navy then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was Air Force. I was Air Force brat. That wasn't much better. I'm telling you.
You know,
I'm telling you.
I'm similarly afflicted. I've got my wife's relatives are in Atlanta, Georgia. I used to go spend a week or two out there with my wife, and I come back speaking like a good old Southern boy. I tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an easy.
Peter, what are you working on
It's a
tonight?
hard one to lose.
Yep.
Peter, you got your mic on, Peter?
Have you got your sound on, Peter? Huh?
Oh, what? He's working on his sleep schedule. That's what he's working on.
He's working on
I
that.
need to work on mine.
He's working on that Saginaw.
Yeah, it's a Saginaw.
How's that coming, Peter?
It's drying.
It's
You
drying.
can feel a bunch of stuff piled up on it. It's drying.
What are you doing? The sheeting, center sheeting?
Yeah. And then I gotta then comes the fun part is hooking up the controls on the bell crank and making sure it's situated right, because of course it being a profile, the control for the control horn for the flaps and actually the push rod out to the elevators is kind of got to get buried inside the fuselage. So that's going to be interesting.
Did you pull your rods yet?
Oh no, I really can't do that until I get the wing mounted in the fuse.
A buddy of mine just called me from Charlotte, and I went down to help him. He's just north of Charlotte, but that's close enough. Anyway, drove down and looked at what he had, and he had built a beautiful Tucker Special wing. Put the wing tips on and done a gorgeous job, but he left the aluminum rods in the wing.
Oh, no.
So I said, how are you planning on getting those wing rods out of there? He said, that's why I called you down here. What do I do?
You see, the deal is with the flap horn and the push rod for the flaps, and then of course the push rod out to the elevators, is I have this piece that gets connected that I need to attach. So until I get the wing into the fuselage, I have to hollow this out. You see, I already have a mark there for roughly where the horn is going to be. I got to hollow this out and shape it out so the flap horn ends up getting buried in here.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting. I've never seen that in the profile.
Is that how you drew it, John?
I don't think that's the way I drew it, but
that's the way it's got. Basically, that's the way the model is built. Because what number one, I have a half an inch. The fuselage is a half-inch thick. Then I've got these 3/8 inch, basically, which are the jet scoops. That's the top, and there's the bottom piece that goes on as well.
Now you know why I didn't make the kit.
So when it's together, it basically is like this. See?
Yeah.
So in order for the flap horn to be outside of this, it would end up having to be way the heck out here. So the way the plane was designed, at least the way the original was put together, is the flap horn has got to be kind of like buried in here. I got to hollow out a section here and a section all the way back here so I can get the push rod out to the elevator.
Very interesting.
That's going to be nice, Peter.
So the push rod is going to be coming through that.
Yep, I've got to basically hollow. I got to hollow out a space here, a proper amount, hollow out a space, and then hollow out a guide here. So the flap horn is in here, and then the push rod out to the elevators in there.
Interesting. I've never seen that before. That's an interesting concept.
Hey, Charles.
Either that or the flap horn's got to be way the heck out, offset to the inboard side of the wing.
Well, that would be a.
Yeah, Mike.
How far is South Bay from you?
Like 30 minutes, 30, 35, 40 minutes.
Okay. I want to share this with you and everybody else because this just came across my feed. And holy cow. This is the mother load of control line stuff for sale.
Let me see a second here.
Control line stuff. Wow. Well, I'll check it out because there's
if you just want to read, it says anybody interested in buying an entire collection, hundreds of engines, kits, foam wings, balsa, wood, contest gear, 60 plus ready to fly control line aircraft.
Wow.
Fuel tanks,
land.
thousands of feet of line. It's his dad's lifetime collection. He's looking to unload it. He will not part it out. He's looking to sell the whole thing.
That's the problem.
Well, he ain't. It'll be parted out. Trust me. We see these all the time. But look at all these kits. And he says that what's in the pictures doesn't even scratch the surface.
Oh my
I'll
goodness!
take the wood.
Yeah,
He says there's 2 attics full of control line airplanes as well.
This is like a hobby shop.
Wow.
And hundreds of engines. Well, wait till you see this. The ones hanging. Hold on. Let me get to the hanging ones.
Maybe we should all buy it.
Well, look at all these combat planes. Who is this guy, Howard?
I don't know. What's his
Who's
name?
a Smith?
Smith.
Oh.
Well, Matthew Smith is his name, but he said it's his dad's. But look at
that chipmunk.
He's got all the stuff in there, but a lot of combats. Look at there's some old Meslik slow combats right there.
Yeah.
And there's some modern Uvenkos. Those are Dawson birds right there, or Allen planes. The foamy's in between the Russian planes.
Well, this must be fairly recent then.
Well, I'm just wondering if he's a California guy.
Well, you might know Greg Hill, because the combat guys I know about here is Greg Hill, who made the world team one year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at this stuff, man. He says in his post he thinks it's probably worth $30,000, but he'll entertain offers.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Don't have anything close to that in discretionary income.
Well, I guarantee you, in a month, he'll either be listing them individually, or he's going to take $5,000 for all of it.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe a hobby shop. If a hobby shop owner sees that, they might go and give him a good offer.
I don't know if there's any hobby shops big enough to do that anymore.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, does he leave a? So you just got to contact him on Facebook, Mike.
He's on our page on control. He just joined the page and then just put that up. Like literally, that came through while I was sitting here. I got a new post notification, and I looked at it, and I just about choked when I saw all those pictures.
I know, that's amazing. I mean, I'd be interested in some wood, but I have a problem with space. I got so much stuff.
That's the thing. He's going to have a hard time finding somebody. I mean, I'll be honest. I'd probably give him $5,000 for all of that if he was within 200 miles and I could get it all here and take my time selling it. But he's going to want the moon. He's going to want $20,000 or something for all of it.
Oh, sure. And maybe work out a deal. I'll talk to him, see if I can work out a deal with him.
Will he take payments?
Some of it.
Will he take payments? or will he take checks?
Small payments over a long time.
Well, the smart money would be to load it all up and go to a swap meet. Go to one of the big swap. What's the big swap meet out west? Do you guys have one?
I've never been to one. I know we have. There's a guy I know who's a president of a RC club out here, and they have swap meets frequently. And I've never gone. I've always had something else to do that day.
Well, I mean, like a trade show, like a trade show too. Like Perry, Georgia is a trade show. Toledo was a trade show. The New York or the New Jersey guys have a trade show swap meet as well.
Well, they used to have one. They used to have a trade show type thing, one of the big ones, but it fell off and they quit it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I've never been to a trade show. Just the AMA convention comes out here and they have a swap meet outside, I heard, but I've never even been to the AMA convention. Not convention, but the AMA event. I forgot what they call it.
That's Pomona.
Most of the stuff like that gets sold at the VSC and the meets out here. They have an area where guys will come up, bring all kinds of stuff, have their tent things up and that. But that's where most of it gets sold out here.
That's a lot of stuff, man.
Well, yeah.
Cheddar, better.
Let me look at the chat, and it's after 9:03. I want to transition to the after party. Anyways, Mike. Mel Rogers says, "I have 2 Dawson birds." All right. Says, I know Greg too, And so we have had, let's see here. We've had about 20 viewers, and we have 22 likes. So thank you for overachieving. I appreciate that. And of course, once we get off, we can add some likes as well. Who's this showing this image? Who's this?
That's me.
Oh, that's
just so you get a better idea, Charles and everyone.
Oh,
this is the magazine article that was published. Initially when they first came, when the model first was published, and as you can see right there, where my
cursor.
Oh, there's somebody else.
I just threw up the drawing that goes with that kit.
Oh no, I threw up the plan.
Yeah, for the magazine. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see that the push rod and the flap horn is buried in that nacelle.
It sure is. Well, I wish I'd have noticed that. I would have moved the belt crank further inboard so that the horn was out far enough out that you wouldn't have to do that.
Well, I'm going to keep it original. I'm just going to do it the same way that.
Yeah, that's a good-looking plane, guys. I didn't realize the sagging off. That is
Dick Mazzini did it that way, so I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, and that's all right. I just, not everybody would want to do that amount of. Well, it's not that hard, I guess. Seeing as those parts go on afterwards, you can just, clean out the area so that it's not rubbing anything inside that.
Yeah, but you can see how the wing really needs to be in the fuselage before you can turn around and start.
Yeah.
At least if you want to make it accurate or not end up with a big hole in the side of the fuse.
Yeah, that is.
I showed a corrected geometry down here, and that just barely fits in there. I thought it was outside too. I missed that.
Yeah, it would barely fit.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
And the other thing is, you really because of the thickness of that 3/8 inch piece, there's no way you're using ball links on it. It just would not. You can't use ball links. I'm gonna have to do bends, Z bends, and soldered washers, or it would never fit in there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
What about clevises? Would they?
Yeah, they would. The clevis would work, but I shuddered at the thought of using one.
I think those Sullivan clevises, the brass ones, are pretty good.
Although, to be honest with you, can put I can probably make a little hatch that wouldn't take away from the appearance too much, and I can get it to be adjustable.
Yeah, well, motivation is the key. You'll figure out a way.
Yeah, so that when you say that this is a good tip for anybody who's watching this, who's considering picking up that kit, that you're gonna have to deal with that in some fashion, one way or another.
The easiest way to deal with it is to move the
you have
belt
to move
crank
it right away. And to be quite honest with you, hold on. If I can find out where the heck they are. Okay. All right. What they did, what Brodak did do. Hold on. Let me stop sharing my screen here. Cut my screen off. What they did do, Brodak, is did supply a horn that's way offset, as you can see it right there.
I think I still see John's drawing. Is that John's drawing? Or is that you?
Yeah, that's mine. Let me go ahead and stop sharing.
Yeah, I see it, Pete. That's.
Yeah, I didn't know what to look at. I just saw John's drawing, which is a nice drawing, by the way. Very clean.
Even though, even with it buried underneath there, which it still has to be buried a bit.
Right.
You notice the horn, how much that's offset.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Doggone you, Peter. Now you got me thinking about building another airplane.
Yeah, that's a
If I don't
nice
have
little airplane. I don't think you showed the that before. I really wasn't intrigued until tonight, Peter. Very intriguing image. Yeah, very
So
very neat.
it's already way the heck out there. So I got to
It
figure out
is.
how I'm going to make that work.
Yeah,
Sharp
that's
airplane,
true.
though.
Guys,
That
I'm
would
out of
look
here.
real fly.
Well,
I'll see you
Peter,
on Friday.
Eddie, thanks for coming in, Eddie. And we're going to be ending the live stream portion. I'm just gonna do a little quick recap. We had really good participation from the chat and the show. I think it was a really fun show. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and coming in and participating. And thank you for those of you who came in the chat. Thank you, Mel Rogers and Peter. And who else was there? Mel. And of course, Jeff Riley came in, and Brent Williams, and Banshee 15. Craig
Don't
Biswick.
forget our New Zealander.
Jeff Riley. What was that, John?
Don't forget our New Zealander.
Yeah, Gerald Wimmer. Thank you for you guys coming in. And of course, you guys coming in the show. Thank you so much. We had a really good time tonight, and want to invite you to go out there and have some fun and come back Friday with some show and tells or what's been going on lately with you. And if you're watching this as a replay, I want you to know I do these with these gentlemen here every Monday and Friday night at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we go till around this time, 9 o'clock, and then we have the after party. And sometimes that, believe it or not, audience, some guys can go to 2 in the morning, my time, which is like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. Sometimes it's just unbelievable. So we really, and what I say sometimes the after party is funner than the live stream. I'm not pulling your leg. Sometimes it is. And I know that Howard Rush and some other guys have gotten to some really good conversations off the live stream. Here comes Steve Hines late. I'm getting ready to sign off. But anyway, so thanks very much for coming in, and go out there and have some fun. Have something to come back and share, and we'll be back together this Friday at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Time. I'm tired, you guys. I'm ready to go.
Me
too. You guys have a good night, and we will see you later.
All right, Steve. Good night, Steve. Everybody's leaving.
Good night, Phil.
It's just a coincidence,
Good night,
Steve.
Phil.
Good night.
It's just a coincidence.